organic self. I'm John McAfee, and I approve this message.
G'day everybody and welcome to the happy hour. How you going there, True Blue and 43 OG?
Good, man.
How we going, guys?
In the hood? Oh, pretty good, pretty good.
Good to see you.
Little bit of wreckage on the chart this week, but it's all sort of gone back up. But anyway, it's Friday Arvo, so have a beer.
It's gone back up, has it? Did you say it's gone back up?
It did go up, and then I think it's gone back down again. I haven't looked.
And yes, we're going to make it. Everyone in the chat will be right.
Yeah. No, it's been oh, there you go. That sounded inviting. Oh, the slurp. There you go. No, it's been
a Friday Arvo.
Friday Arvo. Cheers to everybody, and cheers to the weekend coming up. It's been a pretty hectic week, and yeah, a bit of carnage. Yeah, I was doing some sparring. I managed to get a black eye, like I got kicked in the head. So
Yes.
I don't know if you can see my eyeball.
Ah, yeah. Very nice.
So just from fucking sparring. So
yeah. Does has been sparring the chart and got kicked in the head.
That's right. The chart won. That's
Mate,
right.
The chart won.
Slice is in the chat. If there's any issues, blink twice. Just blink twice. All right? We got you back.
Oh, that's funny, isn't it? People say that. It's like
the chart won the battle. The chart won the battle, but it hasn't won the war.
That's right. Chart won, Dozer 0. But you know, there's still time. It's still pre-halving. Sometimes you get kicked in the face. You know, these things happen.
They do.
Exactly.
They do.
I mean, full credit to the guy for
preferably
baiting me. Full credit to the guy for baiting me to drop my hands before he kicked me in the face. Like,
how did he do that? Was he body punching you or what?
No, he was kicking my shins, and I was checking them. And then every now and then I'd try and catch the kick, and then he knew I was doing that, so he like baited that low kick, and the one time I went to catch it over the top and just roundhouse me in the face, and I was like, that was a nice kick. I probably should have had my hands up. So anyway, apart from being kicked in the face physically and metaphorically, you know, it's not looking too bad. I think a bit of patience and it'll all sort itself out. How have you been, True Blue?
Yeah, no, going good. I'm on the patience train as usual. I'm pretty patient and just trying to hold on that. Watching it all come up and down and seeing everyone's predictions and that sort of stuff. You know, there's you know, obviously there's only two ways it can go in the general market or in the, you know, hex and PulseChain stuff. So look, I just know we're going to be all right, and I'm just holding strong and holding true. So that's about all I can do.
Yeah. I mean,
so.
That's the thing, man. Like a bit of conviction, and then like, you know, backs go up, backs go down, and then but it's not time to be. It's not like peak euphoria. So I don't think people should be, you know, panic selling lows and things like that. Like that's just a bad idea.
Yeah, I reckon like you know, all of this has come a lot, you know, as in the Bitcoin price going up and all the market moving, and even the stock market's hitting their you know, highs at the moment. It's all happening a lot sooner than most people thought. So we don't need to get too emotional about it yet. I think sit tight and just
there's some emotional damage.
Oh, there we go.
Jerry, sorry to interrupt. But
emotional damage.
That's right.
Pretty much.
But you know, you can choose to kind of ignore that, some of that emotions as well. Like you can just, or you can counter trade it. I find that sometimes works when you sort of look at a chart and you go, oh my God, like it's gone down. It's not stopping. It's just going to keep going. And that's how people get shaken out, right? This is the 50 weeks to shake out the weak hands. Like people either they just panic sell, or they think that they can get a re-entry lower. So they think, well,
can we quickly talk about that? Can we quickly talk about that 52 weeks to shake out? And excuse my sweeping sound in the background. That's me sweeping some possum poo off my deck.
That's it.
Yeah. So Hex. Yes, that's it. Contrary to popular belief of my wife, but yes, I can stream and sweep possum poo at the same time. But yes, there was a tweet by Hex Mac, and he.
It's really like I can really hear the sweeping. Can you stop sweeping?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, dude. I didn't realize it was so loud. I'm wearing headphones.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think anyone really cares, but yeah. Sorry, man.
So there was a tweet by Hexmac, and he was saying something along the lines of, 50. Just because, like he said, like there's a clip of Richard Hart floating around saying 52 weeks to shake out the weak hands, and then. But do you know how long ago that was? That was before PulseChain had even been conceived. Like. It was so long ago. So people need to like stop taking every little comment that a person has made from years ago and then just relate it to the current situation and say, that's what's going to happen. So do you really think after 52 weeks, and we've all been talking about it in the community, do we really think that after exactly 52 weeks, that then everything's good? Like, we don't know. It's like it's just a
meme. Like
it's 52 weeks. It's like you need an extended period of time to shake out the weak hands, and then and if enough people get shaken out, then maybe we can go up.
Yeah. Whether it's being done or not, the hands are being, the weak hands are being shaken out at the moment. So,
and some of them might need to get shaked. Some of them might need to get shaked out, maybe some of them get shaked out on the 2x, and maybe some of them get shaken out on the next 2x.
Yeah, look, I think I fully agree, because you want to get people out of the system at the lows, right? Like if you're talking about economic energy, you'd rather people cash out, obviously, at the lows, so that they can't impact the economic energy as severely. So but it is a little bit of cope, right? Like as well, like where. People sort of say, "Oh, I'm glad when it goes down," because then that way, it's like, but at some point it goes back up, right? Like, Anyway, sorry to bit of morbid humor, but the one thing I was going to say is thanks the chat for tuning in, appreciate it, and yes, thank you, David Gomez. Hit the like on the way in, appreciate that, brother. That's wicked. And we got Ash and Jerry making jokes in the chat. Thanks. Good to see you guys. Claz, she's got a new phone with new emojis, so she's stoked. Hexadelic, what's up? Hex Madness, close your eyes and think positive. That's right. Just go to your happy place, like in is that Billy Madison when he's got
just tap it in.
With the two, oh no, yeah. But when he's got his missus with the 2 pints of beer, like the Steins, and she's
and the dwarf like riding the
dwarf is just kicking around, like that's it. Just go to your happy place, and just chill out. Societary balls. Yeah, there you go. Clintrons, what's up? How you going, mate? Nick. This is just the man we wanted to talk to.
Exactly.
Noticed
Nick
you,
Eddy.
You said this in the
in Adam
Stokesy's chat. Yeah, and we were like, what? So feel free to elaborate, bro. You had a legal challenge about taxation, staking income specifically for Hex. Significant improvement. I'm all ears, man.
Yeah, we're interested to find out more. And is this something that's public, or does it only relate to you? I'd be interested to know whether, and maybe that's something I need to ask an ATO person rather than yourself, but I'd be interested to know whether that applies to whether that, I mean, you would think if they make some sort of determination, then that they've got to be consistent with that determination, right?
Yeah, that's right. What's the backstory to this?
Precedent.
I didn't watch the last Adam Stokes.
It was just this Nick's
it's
comment.
That exact comment. That exact same comment.
Okay, right, cool. Yeah.
But feel free to DM us or whatever, and then if you don't want to make it public or whatever, maybe you do, just put it in the chat.
Or come on the show.
Come on.
Welcome to come on the show right now.
Chat about it. So
but if you are, cool. I mean, come on whenever you like, but I'm only here for the next 20 minutes. I've got to duck off and pick up my son.
That reminds me as well. I was going to say something. So, because obviously 43 is like full RH, ecosystem all the way, but mainly, Hex, PLSX, PLS, presumably Inc. So like I was thinking like later on,
presumably
after 43, presumably, I don't know if you like Inc. I don't know if I can put words in your mouth, but maybe you do. I think it's been performing some of the best. So anyway, because I sometimes like to talk about other charts and other things like that, I tend to sort of leave that to the end. And so what I thought is I could do like a segment where basically it's just like, show me what you got. And then, because people sometimes like they shill their coins and things during the thing. And I'm like, bro, this is not a place for shilling. But then I'm like, who cares? Show me some stuff and I'll throw it on there and we'll have a look at it. But if it's shit, like I'm going to tell you it's shit. Right. So, and sometimes people like ask me about TA and things like that. So I have a very quick way of just like determining, and it's basically you just plot it as a ratio versus pulse, and then you see if it's outperforming pulse. And if it's not, don't buy it. Or if it's not like in a long-term uptrend or whatever. So yeah, I might start doing that just as like a quick fire look at things, but don't like spam the chat. If you want me to look at a chart or whatever, just put it in once and I'll look at it. But anyway, because I know 43 is like full, RH maxi only sort of stuff, so we can do that later. No. I'm like, I should clarify. I stream, like the only reason I stream is because of that ecosystem of the RH ecosystem. I'm well aware that loads and loads of other stuff exists, and I would never presume to tell anyone else how to go and how to go spend their money. Do whatever you like. Sure. It's your. Exactly. I just think if you're going to ask me, I just think that this ecosystem has got the most potential in future, regardless of what the haters will say. Because I've been listening. I've been listening to haters for. I've been listening to haters for over 4 years. Like, exactly. and they're just as salty or vicious now as they were back then. And there's always a new salty narrative. But ultimately, I see a very, very smart person. I've always been someone who respects intelligence, and I see a smart person who's trying to create something, an ecosystem, has a community, and has people who are committed for 15 years. So show me another crypto ecosystem where you've got that, and I would say that you're not going to find one. Yeah. I mean, average stake length was like, is it 7 years now? It's pretty impressive. So
and just think about what this does for like the psychology of it, regardless of what sentiment is like right now. Just think of the psychology of people who are definitely committed for on average 7+ years, but many of which have stakes, for 15 years. Just think about the psychology of the community.
That's the average, man. That's the average.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, that's a very, very specific type of psychology that goes into that. That's a type of person unique. That's like who has conviction in something and believes that that's gonna and look, what makes things work and what makes things not work. A lot of it has to do with conviction. Sometimes, I mean, in my opinion, a lot of it has to do with conviction. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but I would say I like the idea that lots of other people have a long-term mindset. I think that's a very good thing to have in. Yeah, absolutely. So, that's my position when it comes to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of positive people in the Hex community. Maybe sometimes we might be like the minority, like vocally, like not, sometimes it's like the negativity stuff is more loud, but then you just have to sort of ignore it. Like we had, VTX on last week. He was a breath of fresh air, wasn't he? He was a real nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
And
good enthusiasm
seems like a real
as well, and
down to earth. Yeah. I really enjoyed having him on. So I sort of said, come on whenever. But it was like 3 a.m. or something his time.
Anytime you want to wake up at 3 a.m. and come on, feel free.
And have a beer with the Aussies.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. That's awesome that he came on. That's awesome that he came on at that time. Good on him. And it's a shame that I missed it. I just could not make it last week. Unfortunately, I would have liked to be on there with him. If he ever wants to come on again, he's more than welcome to, for sure. If you don't mind, Doz, or me inviting someone onto stream.
No, you do what you like, man. It's all good. We're a decentralized show over here, so you guys whoever can come on and whoever can take the reins. I'm not fussed. Cool. Hey, Doss is utilizing the Nixon defense, the silent majority. Well,
there we go.
Yeah, I am not a crook. Is that what?
Hey, how you're talking about the whole sentiment behind being around for a while in the community and staking and that. I've noticed some posts today. I haven't looked into the data myself, but apparently in the past sort of few weeks, we've had the highest amount of staking on Hex and PulseChain than we have in many months. So it's actually looking like the sentiment is really good in that staking fashion. Maybe it's because we've had some kind of indication of which side of the ship to stand on, or something like that. Yep. I don't know. But even on Hex on Ethereum, the staking's well and truly gone up as well. So
wow, there you go.
Maybe
that's crazy.
And that's despite what I thought would have been happening. I thought
people would just be only staking on Pulse. Yeah.
So there's been a big boost on both. So I haven't looked into the data, but maybe there's longer term stakes on Hex on Ethereum, or I don't know.
The Gwei has actually come down quite a bit the other day, and I was thinking if it might actually be a metric of like, oh holy shit, look at this, 23 Gwei.
Wow, that's cheap. Like, that's good. Yeah.
I was saying that, the Denkun upgrade might have some effect on it. And everyone's like, no, it's only L2s and this. And it's like, all right, well then what's going on here? Because it was pretty much after the Denkun that it dropped. And although some people were saying that maybe if the gas drops, it just means that the the volume has dropped. Yeah. Traffic has dropped.
You know why?
Hence, that's why we're seeing such a massive dip on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But
why is that? Heard? Ethereum's a security. Come on, guys.
Oh, yeah. So this is such classic FUD, man. There is some recycled FUD going around, can I just say? And do not fall for it, right? Yeah. So like Ethereum's a security. Okay. Great story. Cool story, brah. Or Tether's gonna fucking implode. Oh, okay. I've only heard that 37 times.
Exactly.
Over the last 7 years or whatever.
Whenever you see a thread that says it's that Ethereum's a security, immediately below that thread you must post the clip of Gary Gensler saying it is not a security.
That's right.
Like immediately after you see that comment in Twitter, you have to post that in the thread. It's obligatory. You must do that.
Yeah, I think I have that clip here somewhere. I should find it. It's not hard to find. I mean, but yeah, he's said that it's not a security in the past. So, I mean, this is the thing that RH was talking about, where it's like, if he is not talking on behalf of the SEC when he says things like Ether's not a security and all this, then who's he talking on behalf of? Himself? Because then he's liable. So
that's right.
I don't know, but yeah, I kind of get the impression that
I don't know when that's. I don't know when that's from. Like I might be from when he was lecturing. It might be from a little while back. So it might be before he got into that position when he said that. But that's sort of what was he done before, or was he like? Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know if anything this guy says is of any value or use. Is it just to maybe there's just something he has to make the power brokers happy. Like I don't know, but I wouldn't take anything the guy says as meaning anything, because I don't think he's very good at his job.
No, we'll be right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's this Patrick McHenry. I might be able to bring it up, but yeah, I kind of think of it as just basically just FUD. So if they start saying that, they're investigating Ethereum and that whether or not it might be a security and this and that, like they don't even care if they lose that case, but maybe that brings the price of Ethereum down, and then they can ape in. They can literally just get a lower cost basis for like, whoever it is that's buying, like, BlackRock, because there's like a ETF, like a Ethereum ETF, like on the cards, right? So they're just literally trying to manipulate the market so they can buy in cheaper. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, buying the dip. That's it.
Yeah. Guzzler's just trying to ape into ETH before the ETF. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, didn't you see him? He was text messaging Vitalik. There was videos of Vitalik walking across the street on his phone the other day.
Yeah. Sorry.
That would have been Gary messaging him.
Let's see if I can find this.
State Attorney General of New York asserted in a court filing last month that Ether is a security. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. Do you agree?
Actually, all securities are commodity under the Commodity and Exchange Act. It's that we are excluded commodities. But I would agree that a security cannot be also an excluded commodity and an included commodity. I'm sorry, Chair, just to talk about the Commodity Exchange Act more precisely.
Okay, so do you recognize, how would you categorize Ether then?
I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm asking you, sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
Without speaking to anyone.
I know you've repeatedly said you're not going to speak to one, except you've spoken to one, Bitcoin. So I'm asking you to speak to a second one, the second largest market cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in
I'm asking about one.
The public is anticipating a profit based on the.
I'm asking a specific question, Chair Gensler.
It's hard to watch.
I said this in private. It should be no shock to you. I'm asking this question. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law. And if there's a group of individuals.
I'm asking about the facts and the law sitting in your seat.
Let's not.
The judgment you are making.
And so
you can see where that's going. He just
just goes around.
So that's the kind of clarity that you can expect at the highest level, under oath, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Asking a direct question and they don't do it. So
typical response. Everything but, both sides of the story, but not saying what the actual decision is there. So yeah.
So it's just thanks for nothing, Guzzler. But what's up? What's going on down here? If it's not the elusive Hex Tangent, how you going there, buddy?
What's up, guys?
How you going,
How's
man?
it going, man? Good to see you.
What's up, dude?
What's up? Really good.
Having a coffee. We need an injection of enthusiasm.
Yeah, I got up super early today. I went to the beach.
Nice.
I was at the beach by 7.
Good day for it, man.
Yeah. Back on the day, back on the being awake at daytime shit. So I am able to be here. How are you guys going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. We're just chatting about, the Guays down on Ethereum, like ridiculously, like 23 Guay.
And the Guays. Cheap Guays. Yeah. Cheap Guays.
Hey, while I think of it, guys, have you guys doing all right over there in relation to the fires and stuff? I've heard a lot about it, but is it close to either of you, or you're it's like out countryside, and
I didn't even know there was fires.
There's always
you've been too busy in the grove.
Normally, if there's fires, I see like you can see the smoke like in the air, right? And I haven't seen any of that yet.
Fair enough. Cool.
Yeah, there's always fires, and it's like, you know, heart goes out to the people in the country in that, because bushfires are like, you know, no joke around here. So
absolutely,
you know, it's just like thousands of hectares or whatever just go up, and you just go on, oh, is that big?
WA is like as big as is like half the country, basically.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how big it is.
The news I've heard, I listen to it often, but they've said it's, you know, close-ish to Perth.
It was,
Perth.
yeah,
oh,
it
right.
was. It was
okay.
Yeah, it was close-ish, but yeah, not in the sort of you know, not within like 20 k's or whatever.
That's cool. Yeah, cool.
You know.
Nice.
So, but
worries.
It's all good. But thanks for asking, man. So yeah, I was just going to say there's a couple of things sort of going on at the moment, but mostly, you know, a lot of this sort of FUD, I wouldn't be terribly concerned about. What do you think, Tangent? You know, hearing some FUD, like classic, like Tether FUD, or is Ethereum a security? And like, is it just them literally trying to get the price down so they can ape in before the Ethereum ETF, or what is your take on it, bro?
I was just looking up this like Firewatch RSS feed, and it's like it's in Armadale, bro. So it's actually very close. It's very close.
Yeah.
That's that's crazy. I guess it's like as close as you can get to Perth, where there's still actually like forest.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll have to maybe keep an eye on
the airport as well. But yeah, shit. All good. So sorry, market manipulation, that's always a thing. People being dumb, heaps of dumbasses, heaps of market manipulation. You've just gotta
don't fall for
ride the wave.
That's it. It's all just a ride. Yeah, we talked about this, you know, life is just a ride. Like, you know, it's the Bill Hicks, the comedian, when he said that comment. It's very true. Sometimes you just got to ride the roller coaster. Now, I was just going to say, apparently, there's a bit of organized sort of efforts to try and get PLS listed on MEXC on an exchange. So, you know, there are some things happening. I mean, MEXC is maybe not the best exchange in the world, but and a lot of people sort of say we shouldn't be having, you know, these, you know, real DeFi on exchanges, because people should be doing self-custody and of keys. And I fully agree with that. But I also think that like at some level,
wasn't the whole life of Hex was saying that we don't need
exchanges
and like
no. Well, not really. I'm not saying, okay, I'll agree to disagree, because like, I'm not saying that people should have their stuff on exchanges. But there's an important distinction there, right? Where you can onboard people through an exchange, and then you get them to go into self-custody of keys. Right?
You need on-ramps and off-ramps, but for trading, that can be on-chain.
Yeah, so it's just an on-ramp. We're not suggesting that people should just have their entire stack on MEXC. It's just like a way for some people to get in. Maybe not even for us, but
as much as MEXC would love that.
And then you can send that shit to your Trezors or whatever, you know, send it to your address.
Yeah.
So you don't have to keep it on the exchange. But look, I think it can only be a good thing. What's up, VTX in the house?
Oh, he's up early again. Yeah.
So like, like we were in the Tangang Telegram chat, and someone came in and was asking the Tangang to like throw in $100 each, because with the number of people in that Telegram chat, that would cover the cost. So
okay.
$100 each from 1,500 people would be the full cost of the listing on MEXC. And then I could tell Cookies was about to go nuclear. So I was like, let's take this to a Twitter space. So if anyone's interested, there's a recorded Twitter space on my profile. My handle is below me. Oh, do you have the handles?
They do come up.
Yeah, that's my Twitter handle. If you go to that handle, it's probably like within the top 5 tweets on my profile is that Twitter space, and you can listen to Cookie's reasons of why he thinks we shouldn't be contributing to that. And
no, you don't.
Everyone's welcome to make their own decision after that. Bluey, how you going, man?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm good.
Bluey, how you going, buddy?
Bluey.
Yeah, I'm well, mate. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Packed house.
Well, I mean, I'm not really.
Is this the most people that you've had concurrently on the show for a while?
Possibly, yes. Yeah. Normally,
this is the new meeting point. This is the new meeting point. Now that the Hex Late Show is no more, it's the happy hour. This is where it's at, right here.
Happy in name only.
This is unusual for me. I would normally still be asleep. This is super unusual.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Look, everyone's welcome, man. Bluey, what do you think about the exchange thing? Because people are allowed to have different opinions, but and I respect that. And I'm not encouraging people to actually donate to that, but if other people do, and then we do get some listing of PLS on MEXC, do you think that that's like net positive or net negative?
It's got to be positive. You need on-ramping for fiat. You need off-ramping. I know nothing about MEXC. I've heard some dodgy stuff about it, but it seems to be popping up a lot. Obviously, I would, you treat them like, public dunnies, as people say.
Yeah.
In and out. If you need to do something, and do tests first before you do anything, biggish. But you need on ramps. You need to make it easy for people. One of the biggest difficulties in onboarding is like getting people to jump through all these like bridges and stuff like that. Which is just really scary for people who have never done stuff and are just learning it all for the first time. It's like, I got to do what, and then I got to do what, then I got to do what, and if this makes
it's also very expensive. It's also very expensive to like.
If you're coming in small amounts,
If you're coming in from Ethereum and you need to bridge across, you're looking at. You might be looking at $100 to bridge, depending or more, depending on how much you're.
He's only 20 at the moment, so it'd be probably
at the moment.
Yeah.
But when there's peak FOMO and everyone wants to get in at that one time, it gets very expensive. And it's like if there was an on ramp that went direct to Pulse, that is by far going to be a better option for people to get on. I think.
just while I remember, I talked about this last week, but there is that Spark Swap bridge from BSC to PulseChain. And so that's obviously a cheaper way in terms of gas fees.
That's the best way at the moment, I think.
Crap load of liquidity as well.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
So if you go, it's like sparkswap.xyz, and then under trade, there's a little drop down, you go to the bridge. And there's also PortalX as well, like it's portalxswap.io. You can also do that with from BNB, right? It keeps trying to pull up wallets, but you can go BNB. But so you could buy BNB through like Change Now from an exchange, whatever MEXC, and then send it to your wallet, your Trezor that you self-custody your keys, and then you can literally just swap it from Binance Smart Chain to PulseChain, and you pay.
Who's MEXC for? Like, what countries can go there?
I think it was China. I thought they were Chinese, but it was a while ago. That
I just assumed it was Mexico.
This is making me.
It does sound Mexican.
This is making me think of Adam Stokes's. He's got a website called the crypto.land. Yep. And on that website, there is a no KYC exchange, which he was talking about the other day. All you need is like an email to log in. So that's always of interest. So there it is, BitUnix. Now, I have no idea. I can't vouch for it. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that Adam is a pretty ethical guy, I think.
He's a legend.
So I don't think he would have it there unless he thought it was okay to give a go. But he doesn't get any ref links or any referrals from it. So that's an option. A no KYC exchange there. So there you go.
Hey, I can't see the bridge. Oh, it's under trade. So
it's a little drop down.
You've got to fold down that drop down one. and then it's got the bridge.
Yeah. What's up, Bobbler guy? How you going, mate? Bobbler's one of my favorite hexagons.
Oh, yeah, and from Arbitrum as well.
Eh?
So BSC and Arbitrum to PulseChain.
Yes, you can use Arbitrum. That's the other way as well. You just send it from an exchange, send some ETH from Arb, and then bridge it in. And so super low. I mean, particularly because after Dean Kuhn, the Arb gas fees are super low as well, because they got like chopped in 10 or something. But that's the interesting thing I was going to bring up as well, is because, you know, PulseChain's got cheap fees and all that sort of stuff. It's like, I feel like that is probably not enough to be like, you know, when you're onboarding people, because there are plenty of chains and stuff that have cheap fees. Yep. So, you know, I think it has to be, you know, there's a lot of other things, people building on PulseChain.
For me, it's the ecosystem and the quality of the builds. So like if you look at liquid loans as an example of like if you look at all the other forks on all the other chains, and especially with MCR did barista front end for liquid loans, that shit is like way higher quality than anything you see on any of the other chains. And that's just one example, by the way. I'm just using that as an example. I think a higher level of quality has been applied to all of the shit that's been built on PulseChain.
Yeah, and also I was talking to VTX about this. Shout out to VTX. Go check out his channel and subscribe and all that stuff. Because he's a big fan of the PulseX buy and burn, right? For example, right? And I'm like, well, if the buy and burn is a function of the volume in PLSX pools, then you actually want to encourage as many people as possible to set up. Oh, there's
someone's got some feedback.
Maybe
is there a echo?
Are you watching porn, Bluey?
You got to shut down the porn, Bluey. Nah, it's 43. He said he's sweeping, but I don't know. He's got his camera off.
Sweeping the deck, yeah.
He's sweeping the floor. Anyway, yeah. So if you want the buy and burn to be, you know, buying and burning as much as it can, you want the volume to be as high. So then you want more projects to have liquidity pools through PulseX, right? Because then the more volume, the more it buy and burns PLSX. So I don't understand how some people can be like, I'm all in on RH coins, you know, PLSX, for example, and then say, but we don't want anything else. It's like, if you have other things, then people will go to those things as well that may not have just bought PLSX. And then the volume goes up, the buy and burn goes up, and then it pushes the price of PLSX up anyway. So yeah, that's sort of my position that, you know,
I love the idea of having, you know, everyone in this ecosystem, and it's like a slosh tank type thing of all the money and, you know, trades going back and forth. That's all well and good. I think the only time I feel a bit different about that is when it goes off chain, where you know that's when it starts to do that sort of thing. But on PulseChain, on chain, I don't know. I don't have much of an opinion on that. It's, you know,
I have an opinion, bro.
If it helps with marketing, that's beautiful. But you know, everyone uses that narrative, and I don't see how it'll do that much. But that's the same with any other coin that, you know, our people from our communities moved over to, which is why I love things like, you know, like the Tangang and stuff, where it's like there's all these crazy things. No one can keep up with what's going on, but most of it's happening on PulseChain, which is sweet. Like, go for your life. You know, even if you don't get it, I love having it here, but don't know about the stuff moving off chain so much. Everyone's bored though.
Yeah. So that was, I'm not sure if I'm reading between the lines here, but the idea that Dipcatcher had Gophers on Pulse, Gophers on Ethereum, and then now he's just putting Gophers on Solana. I mean, full disclosure, I had some Gophers and I sold some Gophers, and then I took that profit and I put it in, and then I'm going to get some Gophers on Solana. So I hope it goes up. But if it does, like, that profit I'm going to use to buy more PLS, right? Like that's what I'm trying to do, because any dips before the halving, in my mind, are there to be bought. Like, you know, that's for sure. That's a no-brainer for me. So if I can make money, on some shitcoin that goes up, assuming it makes money, then I'm not against it, as long as you rotate it back into your core. But I do see the argument that you're saying that it does sort of take economic energy off chain. So yeah. I do see that point as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even so much that's not much of my worry. I guess in the beginning, I was more starting to have a bit of a different opinion about all these different products and meme coins and stuff on PulseChain. But then my thinking was quickly changed back to how good it is just having it all in, like I said, almost like a slosh tank, like all within this one ecosystem is great because of things like the buy and burn and just everyone's seeing all this action happening. So it's great. So I'm not so worried about it going elsewhere as much as I'm loving the fact of how much is happening on PulseChain.
G'day, Don Swan. Thanks for listening, man.
Yeah, it's cool. New guy there.
I agree with you saying, but also people have to understand that like we may have other assets on other chains that we sold to then sacrifice for this Gophers thing. Like, for example, I actually had a shit ton of ETH that I got from Pepe, and I was using that ETH in like the wrapped Pulse, wrapped ETH farms on PLSX. And then I was like, oh, actually I can use some of this ETH because I was actually worried about the Block Explorer not showing up, the SAC thing. So I actually did it on Ethereum, paid the gas because I wanted it to be obvious with, Etherscan. So yeah, I sold ETH for that. So the argument that, people were selling Pulse, that doesn't really stand up for that.
Come on, that's what PDI is for.
Yeah, PDI. Oh, that was brutal. So that Pulse launch thing that happened during the week, that was another shit show. There was a Launchpad, and like I don't want to talk too much smack about it because there's a good chance that they might be able to recover. And then, because even I think once, like, long story short, what happened is they launched, and then what people had, they treated the P die as actual die, so they fucked up their like allocation.
Yeah, it was a shocker. It sucks.
But even at that point, because people were saying like, look at this chart, it's wrecked or whatever. But like I had a look at my SAC, which is a very, very small amount. And I could have sold it for like, I think it was a 1.6x after that massive dump. And it was like, so, but then they actually rugged the liquidity because they're going to relaunch it. And I think at that point I was like, all right, it's a bit of a shit show now. So yeah. Anyway, that's crypto, man. Like fuck.
I wouldn't have seen anyone. Yeah, I wouldn't have seen anyone surrendering their tokens. Hey, if they got that money shot with the sacrificing PDI, that would have been the only way around it if someone sent it back. Really. Yeah,
I saw Richard's tweet where he's like, if you want to know what the die from Ethereum contract is, you go up here and it's click on this button and it's like there's a star next to it. It's just taking the piss.
So the only people that would have lost money on that would have been the liquidity providers.
Yes, good point. That's a good point. I still don't think I will have lost any money from that, and I don't think anyone will. So, well, yeah, because I actually, I had a chat with Donovan in the Hex conference. He seems like a really nice guy, and I think they're trying to do the right thing. Yes, they botched it, the launch, but give them a chance. And like it goes with that same vein of like we want people to build on chain, so we can't just slay them too hard.
I just don't understand launch pads.
Yeah,
I don't understand like why. Like we have all of
this.
You
don't need them on Pulse.
We have all of this stuff launching, right? You have all of this stuff launching, and then you want to pay money to some people to give you access.
Get in early,
these things. So it's kind of like anything I just don't understand why you would give that. It's such middleman kind of stuff. And it's also like, it's also like, if they launch, there's no way you'd buy any of those tokens after they launch because a whole lot of people got in early. So
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, good point. This is also a good point, sweeping under the foreskin. So shout out to 43. He looks like he's dropped out. He had to go, I think, so that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for coming on, 43. But no, go ahead, mate. Keep going, Bluey.
Well, just that. I just don't like that. The Launchpad is just such a thing from like the last cycle, and it would always appear to me as just a money grab by people launching these Launchpads. Like what expertise are they offering? We don't even know who these people are, and they're probably getting in earlier on the stuff that they're launching, or we don't even know if they are. And so it's like, what are they going to do? They're going to filter the good shit from the bad shit. It's like, no, like that's not crypto at all. You know, it's like it's almost like going back to ICOs. You know, because also you're sending them money, trusting.
I agree.
Like to me, it's such an old narrative, and it's like being brought back, and I just don't get it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Like, you know, each their own.
I guess if you look, I agree with you, Bluey. Like the old pitch used to be, this is a way that almost like they would claim a fairer way of distributing the initial tokens, but realistically, it just becomes an excuse to try and pump their token, because it's like you have to own their token to get the allocation, right? And then you get the allocation, so it's still unfair because it's like the people with the most tokens get the most allocation. And I just found like most of the projects I've ever bought off Launchpads before, if you don't sell them like immediately, you come back later, it's worth zero. Like particularly if you go out of that bull cycle. Like if anything I've ever bought off, I mean, any IDOs, any IEOs, any fucking Launchpad token, all of that shit just completely wrecked after a bear market, like worth basically zero.
Yeah,
so it's like
no. I think
they're not even like
goes without saying.
Because one of their pitches is also that they select better quality projects, right? So the Launchpad pitch is like, we will do the due diligence for you, find you the best possible projects for you to invest in. And then also by holding our token, you get these pre-sale allocations so that you're actually like, you know, you're now the VC, whatever, right? And both of those things ended up being like not
well. How much confidence?
How
much confidence does it give you when those guys are the people that can't even tell the difference?
Can't even launch
real P
well. I don't know. They fuck their own launch. How are they going to fucking launch other things, man? And then like the jokes,
bro, that needs to be tweeted. Dude, that needs to be tweeted. Like, how are you going to trust these guys to select projects, like assessing tokenomics and shit when they can't even fucking do their own?
I saw a funny one where it was like, you guys have to change your name to Relaunch.
Well, I think they were actually saying. I think Donovan was actually saying he likes the idea of that name. So we'll see if it goes. But Relaunch. But
the confidence though.
Yikes.
It's a bit of an ouch.
So just want to say shout out to Jay Everything, because he's the guy who wrote the TYRH song. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, right. Oh, cool.
You know what's
he's awesome.
You know what's weird about the whole PDI thing?
What's that, man?
We were when PulseChain was first launched, and we were discussing like what would happen after PulseChain launches and after the fork and everything like that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I said was that people are so dumb, they're going to use the USDC copies. They're going to treat them as if they are the same as the real USDC, right? And it was half joking, but it was also kind of like, no, I think this could actually happen, right? Because people are just like nuts. And and then it launched, and obviously it went to, all of those went to zero. But then all of a sudden, this whole PDI thing comes along, and it's just like, what are you crazy?
I know.
Like,
look, I've made my position clear on that from the start, and I've always sort of said, like, you know, the meme of something going to $1 is just, anyone can say that. Like, and I say hex to $1 before PDI to $1.
Yeah.
So that's it. Mic drop. Like, It's just literally because anyone can say that, right? Like, because there's nothing that pegs it at $1. It can go to $1, sure. Nothing's pegging it there.
Before I forget, when you guys were talking about contract addresses and stuff, there's a website that Richard tweeted at one point, I'm told, and it helps you to get the contract for bridged assets. So assets on PulseChain that are like wrapped assets. It's token sex dot something, like sex like fucking.
That's one of our favorite sites.
Yeah. That's we talk about.
So you guys know about. Okay. So you guys have already
just because it's only because it's just got dick innuendo in it. That's why we like, you know, think it's funny. But if you go to if you go to the main, so the way I get to it, just because like you don't want to like go to the wrong bridge or whatever. So if you go to pulsechain.com and then you go to bridge, right down the bottom, community sites, Token Express.
Oh no shit.
Yeah,
I think my wife's put a firewall on certain websites because I can't open that website.
TokenX. What are you looking at? So you literally just go pulsechain.com, click bridge, like main bridge site, which has got the IPFS links, and you can, you know, run the exe down the bottom, community sites.
Bridge. Oh yeah,
so,
bridge.
So this is the bridge one. But were you saying that there's here it shows the
so was that site made by the PulseChain community? Someone in the PulseChain community? That's epic.
That's my understanding, yeah. But were you saying that you can get the token, or is it the wrapped Pulse?
Yeah, so if you
wrapped tokens from Binance Smart Chain, from Ethereum and stuff like that, you basically just you put the original token address on the original chain and then you see what the contract address will be for PulseChain, like the contract address. You see what I'm saying? Like, you've got it up. So yeah. So just do one, for example, like just go Ethereum and go MOG or something, or some shit, like a coin that was not forked, i.e. a coin that did not exist at the time of the fork.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it actually is. It could be one from pre-fork, but you know what I mean?
Right.
And then when you
I see. So you got
see how it's got the contract address, and if you click on that, it copies it. So the top one is the contract address on the original chain, and then the other address is what the wrapped address, and that'll be different. Gotcha. That'll be different to the contract address of the coin that was, if it was forked, because you know that with the forked PRC20 has the same contract addresses as the original, right? So this is the wrapped. If someone was to bridge in, that would be what the contract address will be.
Yeah, exactly. So this is like, you know, DAI on Ethereum. That's the contract address, and then that's the wrapped DAI from Ethereum.
That's DAI from Ethereum. Yeah. Sorry.
So the wrong symbols are loading there. Hey, like that should be Ethereum symbol for Dog and My.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it does say we're going from Ethereum to PulseChain, so that's like DAI on Ethereum to wrapped DAI from Ethereum. Yeah. So I think that's pretty good, man. I reckon that's a pro tip.
That symbol though, like that should, like those. I don't know how you contact those people, but
so if you were a whale, hint, and you had your favorite coin that you wanted to create parity to get that community to take PulseChain seriously, and this could be any community I'm talking about here. So it could be like Pepe or MOG or whatever, right? And actually a MOG whale, I'm told, bridged in a shitload of MOG, and we're waiting to see what they do with it. So the point is, someone could basically bridge in a shitload and then pair the bridged asset with the PulseChain forked asset, assuming that it's so actually with MOG, it didn't exist pre-fork. So bad example. But if it was a pre-fork, a coin that existed pre-fork, so say like Pepe, you could bridge in the one from Ethereum and pair it in a liquidity pool and let people trade one against the other.
What's MOG? I've never heard of it.
Oh, it's just a meme coin. Like it's just a well-known meme coin that's been pumping lately, so it's got a bit of attention. Have you seen all the people that wear like the Pit Vipers like on their PFPs and shit? They put pit vipers on like those sunglasses, those really big like reflective sunglasses. Yeah. That's the MOG community that does that shit.
Ah, there you go. Yeah,
I don't hold any, by the way, so I'm not shilling. Like I've got literally zero.
Does it stand for anything?
You and me both.
People make up their own. Like people just make them up. So like man of God.
I just assumed it was like a cat, like a moggy cat or something. I
Monkey on gorilla.
Yeah, maybe it's not an acronym. Good point, Dozza. Maybe it's
not an
acronym.
I just thought, you get mogs like moggy cats. I don't even know what that means. Maybe I just made that up.
No, I've heard mog for a cat.
Yeah, like a moggy.
What it is though.
I don't know why. It's like chook.
It's a cat icon, isn't it?
Yeah. Here we go. A mixed breed, a typical house cat without a pedigree is called a moggy in the UK. So yeah, maybe that because it's got a cat, right? Or maybe I'm thinking of something else.
No, it doesn't have a cat. I've actually had that
I might be thinking
on my watch list for a while on Ethereum, and just but the gas fees have been too high. But watching it go up and down, it's been moving. Pretty erratic.
It's funny how
this whole meme kind of thing is such a weird casino, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Like literally stuff to choose from, and you're trying to guess what everyone else is going to be finding valuable in the future. And then you want to also try to get out as soon as possible. But it's like...
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's something about that. Sorry, man. I'll just quickly say this. Like,
no, you go.
There's something about meme coins, which is different to RH coins. Like, so where, we've just talked about the average stake length of Hex being, 7 years and people staking out 15 years, like long-term conviction sort of stuff. And then with meme coins, it's kind of almost like, the earlier you get in, then the earlier you can get out. And then so when people get into some of these meme coins, they're FOMOing in because they're literally just seeing the green candles, and then they're getting dumped on by the people who got it. So it's like the later people are paying the earlier people, and that's it. Like
sounds like a fucking Ponzi.
Well, yeah, I guess in terms of like
a pretty good thing that I heard about, like a pretty good case, like investment case for meme coins, is that meme coins are by definition protected against the SEC. They can't say it's a security because it's a fucking joke. So it's like, it sounds silly, but there's almost like a practical application. And then it's also more fun, right? People are like, I want the dog. I want the silly looking dog or whatever. I want the green frog. Like, what do you think? So fun for new investors, and cannot be taken seriously by the SEC because it's clearly a joke. And also, meme coins never make any promises. They don't claim there's a utility. They don't say there's any bullshit. There's no roadmap. It's literally a picture of a dog. Shut up. Yeah. Like, that's it. That's all you get. You get a picture of a frog and you shutting the fuck up. You do the work. Make some memes.
What do you think about like that? Like the thesis that everything is a meme.
Oh, 100% agree.
Therefore, these other tokens which might have utility or tokenomics that you think is valuable is actually just that is just another narrative.
Yes, exactly, narrative. So my thing is like not obviously not literally, like not everything is a meme, right? And not everything is meme, not literally, but from the point of view
as a mindset.
Yeah, like from like a narrative, if you interchange the word narrative with meme, you can kind of say, okay, well, you can have liquid staking of, Ethereum or whatever. You can have, Arbitrum, whatever, layer 2, whatever the thing is, like that's still a narrative, right? Which is effectively a meme. So, and then, so some people are in the meme of, like with Bitcoin, you could say that the meme, you could say that the meme of Bitcoin is store of value. So whereas the store of value,
store of value meme.
But you know what I mean? It's like a narrative of like, because originally it was peer-to-peer cash, right? Like, or peer-to-peer, then they changed it. It's like, no.
Well, that's a meme as well. Like it's going to be used as a payments thing or whatever.
It's a narrative. And so, yeah, I can understand what you're saying. But sorry, Tangent, go ahead, man.
Sorry, you locked up for me for a bit, so I thought you'd stop, but then I saw that your image wasn't moving, and I was like, oh shit, he's still talking. So basically, I think that these are good as a mindset. So having effectively, like, it's all just tickers that you're speculating on. It's all vapor. It's all just a meme. Everything's a meme. So it's good way of like framing it so that people don't take this shit too seriously and think that the coin that they're investing is some kind of paradigm shift that's like not going to go down in a bear market. But if we look at it on a more like accurate, like if we look at it accurate language, I don't think that everything is just a meme coin. Like, I don't think Bitcoin is a meme coin.
I agree with that. Yeah, because exactly, like, because where are the like memes as well? Like, you know, like a meme has
where are the like memes?
And the thing is, you don't see. If you do go down that route, like literally everything is a meme. So stocks are a meme, bonds are a meme, property is a meme, cash is a meme.
Yeah, they're narratives. That's what I was saying. Like, in terms of, you know, interchanging the word narrative with memes, there's a lot of things in our society that we just sort of go, you know, oh, you've got to go to university and get a, you know, because you'll get a higher paying job, and people take that as like gospel or whatever. And then so then there's things that we just kind of, so they're narratives. I think humans just like stories, man. We tell each other stories, and some people believe them. And it's
but it also means that, like, if you are going to be like creating something which you do think has good utility and long-term value and stuff like that, and you're going to launch it, considering the meme aspect of it is also quite important, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's why RH has been talking about, you know, Ink being, you know, a meme coin. Shout out VTX, still listening, 3 a.m, bro. Unreal. Meme coin Ink, you know, and, you know, I understand that technically is like, there wasn't like a lot of Ink memes before we started calling it a meme coin, and obviously it has utility, right? Like it's to offset the impermanent loss you get from providing liquidity or from yield farming. So again, like semantics, but I think you're right. Maybe RH has tapped into that sort of thing, love of meme coins. Well, here, Ink is a meme coin. Buy that. Like,
exactly.
Ink is so important to the system, and I never thought that this is how it would kind of like this is what would happen, but it really does hold up the PulseChain system in a lot of ways. And because because the fees to swap are so much cheaper on PulseChain, there's not much incentive to provide liquidity on stuff on PulseChain. And so you really do need a really good reward token to compensate for the impermanent loss. And so like in a lot of ways, Ink is really holding up the whole system to an extent.
Well,
yeah, for sure. Especially seeing that, we're not getting the fees as such with, you know, as you would with V2. You're only getting the Ink rewards, and that's it. So you want to pump that somehow, and if you want to push the narrative of the Ink token, then it's got to perform well as well to keep everyone putting liquidity in there. So I agree.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, one of the things that I like about it is the way that Ink doesn't have any pairs with stable coins. So it's only paired with PLSX and PLS. So if you want to buy Ink, it has to route through the PLS and PLSX pools. So it's always going to put purchasing pressure on PLS and PLSX in the way through the routing when you're buying Ink. And then so it's only the ratio between Ink and PLS or Ink and PLSX that goes down. But with respect to the dollar, it's actually pumping PLS and PLSX, just the way that it's routed.
I also noticed on the farms, one of the new improvements was that if you go to the farms, you can see what multiplier of Ink that pool is getting compared to the others. And I was wondering, I was wondering, like, what happens if people see that and all of a sudden put in, like, what happens if they double the USDC Pulse like pair? What effect does that have on how much ink everyone is earning? Does that mean it basically halves, or?
Well, the emission rate's the same.
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay, because I was only half listening to the question, but I will definitely know the answer.
The emission is based on time, right?
Yes.
Blocks,
the Master Chef contract has got
And
that,
so
but they can change that.
For that level of time, anyone who's in there, depending on their percentage, is earning that percentage of that yield.
Yeah, Doz is right. The Master Chef, they can alter the emission rate per block, and then they can also alter the percentage. The bonus multipliers is how it's allocated to each of the farms, and then obviously there's your proportion of one of those farms. So if you're 20% of a farm that's receiving 20%, and the emission is like 1 token per block, then you'd get 1 times 0.2 times 0.2 every block.
So do you think that the Master Chef will adjust those depending on how big those pools are?
You can't.
I think they can. I think they can adjust the farm multipliers.
Yeah.
So like each
it
farm
is adjustable, but you cannot predict what they will do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They could do anything, and you can't. They wouldn't even be allowed to say what they're doing ahead of time, because it would be like a.
But if they adjust the farm multiplier, does that affect all of the? Does that affect all of the other liquidity pools?
Yes.
Right.
It would affect the APR in that. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because it would affect the APR on that farm, and then it would affect all the other farms as well. That's my understanding. I think Tangent's frozen.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Did you hear me say it can only add to 100%? Like it has to always add to 100%.
I didn't, but yes, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
That makes sense.
So basically, yeah, if you bump the bonus up on one of the farms, it steals it from all of the other farms pro rata.
Right.
Cool.
So it's a real pro rata thing. The level, the multiplier we see on each of those. Okay.
Yep.
And
like,
all
so for example, say.
Oh dear.
Sorry, I think he'll be back. It just dropped out.
That sort of makes sense to me. Then I was asking last week about why we're not seeing more farms from different, coins come in from other chains, or like we had, what do we have, Chainlink and stuff like that pop up. So that was done to increase, the current farms we have, and not steal APR from them, I guess. So if I understand that correctly, that sort of makes sense as to why we're not getting what I was talking about last week.
Yeah. And so, but the thing is, that's interesting is that so I did a bit of a calculation where I summed up all of the liquidity in all of the pools on PLSX. Yeah. And it was like in, say, PLSX, I think there was about $87 million. PLS was 146 million. Inc was 70 million, and Hex on Pulse was 20 million. And then there was 26 million DAI, 9 million USDC, and 9 million USDT. So the interesting thing I thought about that, apart from the stables, was that 20 million USD in Hex, and so 70 million Inc and 146 million Pulse. So Hex has got really low liquidity with respect to these other tokens. So hence it's more volatile. So, when we're seeing some of these, say Pulse go down a little bit, because it's as a fraction, it's a seventh of the liquidity on Hex. It might be seeing more of the excursions, more up and more down because of the lower liquidity.
Does it also mean that if you want to pair a stable coin to Pulse, and you have 3 options, you have the DAI, the USDC, and the USDT, what you want to do is look at which has the lowest LP pool and go into that, because that means you'll be getting the greatest share of percentage, which is the same as other 2 pools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you have a greater share percentage of that pool, then you'll earn more of the fees. Yes. So that's interesting in terms of whether you're doing LP on like V2 or whether you're doing the yield farming.
No, this is all V1. This is all V1.
Oh,
like,
you're doing that V1. Okay, so but even in terms of
the farms are only on V1.
Yes, true. Yeah. But yeah, it works for both. So in terms of like whether as a proportion of the pool on V2 or whether you're just talking about like farming, but definitely Hex is like, yeah, so 20 million versus, so but Inc has got 70 million in liquidity in the farms. So that's like 2.5 times the Hex liquidity. But yet see, Inc is actually pumping more. So people are just buying more Inc is what it boils down to.
Well, they're like compounding, aren't they? What they're doing is they're taking whatever they earn from they're harvesting, and then putting that ink in the Pulse or the PulseX pools for ink.
Yeah.
So you can compound because the transactions are so cheap. You can compound every day if you want. But that means
and that you can auto compound as well.
Compound interest, which actually is what Hex is modeled on. Like Hex is modeled to give you
T-share. Exactly, the T-share is meant to model that compound interest sort of mechanism, isn't it? Yeah. That's interesting.
So the big incentive is to get Ink and compound it against Pulse and PulseX.
Yeah. Look, I still think Ink is underpriced. I still think they're all undervalued. So if you're doing that compounding game, I think it's better than just selling it, because some Ink might be worth something ridiculous in a bull run. Oh, look how it's 43 back. He's finished sweeping.
It's like the difference between Ink and the difference between Ink and Hex is you put it into Hex and stake long term if you don't want to click any buttons. But if you like clicking buttons or you don't mind clicking buttons, Ink is actually the same in terms of compound interest replication. Well, it is compound interest if you do it whenever a day or whatever. But what we have all seen as well is that like the amount of yield you're getting really is not as strong as the price performance.
Yeah. So, and this is an interesting comment. Is Ink inflationary? Well, yeah, it is, because there was like no Ink in existence, and then it started being emitted at a rate, and then it's just more and more of it is now in existence. So that's one of my criticisms of Ink, is just that when people say, okay, it used to be $80, so it'll go back to $80 and yada yada, I sort of think, well, hang on, there was hardly any Ink in existence when it was at $80. So people were buying that Ink because they were like, I want to have all 5 of the RH coins, and there was the scarcity of it, whereas now there's a shit ton more of it out there. So just
dude, in percentage terms, it's a huge difference.
Yeah,
because it started from 0. So like the first block, the percentage increase in the amount is infinity, and then it's like a super high percentage, and it only goes down. Yeah, you're absolutely right that if you look at that as a factor, it could be very difficult for it to get back to that price again.
Yeah. Because scarcity as well.
We don't know because sorry.
But also the SAC address could pump it to like a million times higher than $80 as well. So
of course,
it's
but the thing,
the SAC address. The
thing is we don't know. The things we don't know about Ink is that the master chef can change everything. So when people say this is going to be the inflation schedule, they're saying that that's what it looks like at the moment. But you have no there's no definite.
You can't. It's not like Bitcoin where it's fixed monetary policy. It can go up or down at any time by the will of the admin keys that run that master chef. Absolutely. But by the way,
so if they dropped the inflation rate, so if they drop the inflation rate of Ink, I mean something as
well, but then you F the APRs of all the farms.
Simple as that could just create some FOMO. People would.
Yeah, but the balancing act is you F the APRs. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I can hear. No, I agree with what you're saying, Tangent. I think, if you drop,
so if you try and make it more scarce by dropping the emission rate,
I mean, there's no incentive for people
and then you're not incentivizing the behavior that you want to incentivize as effectively. So
I think the better way
is just to,
I think the better way is just to pump the price.
Historically, these are down forever coins. I've only ever seen 2 yield tokens not do that so far, and they are both Tangang coins. It's OG and Enigma are the only 2 yield tokens that have ever shown resistance to down forever shit. And hopefully Inc joins that Hall of Fame, as something, as a coin. By the way, they've all got the benefit of the bull market. So
yes,
having an accelerating bull market helps to get better longevity in tokens that would typically bleed forever.
And so one thing about the OG and Enigma stuff is that they managed to add some tokenomics to it by sort of making it like a token gating to get into a certain thing or to buy NFTs.
Yes.
So they're given them utility.
Absolutely.
So it's entirely possible that people will start using Ink as like, if you've got X amount of ink, then you can do other things or buy NFTs or have access to,
PulseX. They could do all sorts of interesting shit. They could copy the model from OG and Enigma.
I hope they do.
Ink could copy that model and try and build a circular economy, try and build sort of like token gating or whitelisting sort of stuff, and give it that value.
So when Richard was when Richard was looking at all of these different models for the incentive token, he quite liked YAM, or I think it's called YAM. Or
well,
YAM.
Ink was is a fork of Yams, isn't it?
So it's a fork of Yams. So what would be interesting to see, that's price performance, and also to find out why he liked that so much compared to Cake, because Cake did quite well as well.
Well, I think there's a parameter in the Ink contract which allows you to burn it, I believe. Is it burn or stake? Or no, so anyone can burn a token. I guess you send it to the 0x address. Maybe it's staking. There was something in Ink right at the start where people were like,
no, you are right. You are right that burning can actually be built into the contract. So sending to a burn address is kind of like it's a workaround, like it's like an aftermarket ability to burn tokens on a contract that was not designed to be able to be burnt.
Gotcha.
But you can design the contract so that you can actually burn tokens.
And then you can have
I think that's what it was.
Verifiable coins as opposed to just.
And then and then Blue is right. Then when people are looking at the market cap, it won't include tokens that have actually been burnt contractually, rather than if you send to the burn address. As far as the blockchain's concerned, those tokens still exist. They're still part of the supply. So you have to manually omit them from any market cap calculations.
Right. Yeah.
Because it doesn't know, the only reason it's a burn address is because it's mathematically improbable, so highly improbable that it's effectively considered impossible that anyone could have the private keys to that address. But the blockchain doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah,
theoretically they're accessible.
That's why you can't actually burn Hex. Because it's
doesn't get burnt when you stake.
When you stake, yeah.
Not really. You're getting shares for it, so it's not like a burn never going to be existing again.
Yeah, it's not a permanent burn. It's not a permanent
temporary.
Burn.
Yes, it goes into some purgatory thing, and then
it doesn't
count reduces.
It affects payouts and everything like that. So there's actually
doesn't go to the null address. They don't go to the null address. They show that they go to the null address, but that's like a placeholder in the contract, but it doesn't actually go to the null address. Otherwise, you would not be able to. Every time you remint them, there would be even more supply. So it doesn't actually go to the null address. It's just a placeholder.
Huh. Well, that might be semantic sort of thing as well. But yeah, effectively, it gets burnt and then reminted when you end stake, right?
Yeah.
Bob the guy.
But what it means is
a little
that
bit worried.
like, would never burn hex like verifiably. They'd have to build some sort of other contract to make sure that to show that it's locked up forever or something like that. But they couldn't actually. You can't actually burn hex.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, one thing I was going to say is because RH's been tweeting a lot about with the liquidity and stuff like that, and saying that some people had their calculations wrong, and like if you double the price, you actually it moves as the square, like in terms of the
ratio,
because it's the ratio, because it's the Uni V2 model. So a lot of people had sort of misinterpreted how much it would take to actually pump some of these bags, and then some other people will sort of come out of the woodwork and saying we shouldn't talk about the SAC wallets buying up the price. But I kind of think like, well, if Michael Saylor is buying up Bitcoin and people know that he might buy Bitcoin in the future, or Ethereum Foundation is selling Ether, or Optimism Foundation's selling Optimism, it's like that people are like, and the SAC wallets is doing the opposite. Rather than Ethereum Foundation, Optimism Foundation dumping on everyone, SAC wallets are buying, and somehow this is like a bad thing. Like people are sort of saying, oh, we shouldn't talk about it. It's like, I reckon talk about it. It's out there anyway.
Well, okay, I'll talk about it. Like to an extent, I think that RH has kind of painted himself into a little bit of a corner, because each time he's tried to pump the prices, people have sold it down. And the thing is that if there's no way he's going to chuck it all in any kind of short period of time.
No.
As soon as he does, he's spent all of his bullets.
Yeah, but in terms of economic energy,
he's got unlimited bullets though. Sorry. Let's be clear. Wait. It's not necessarily Richard Hart.
Let me finish.
But it's important before we even start this discussion. This is really important, that before we enter this discussion, don't say Richard. We don't know for sure that it's him.
Okay. The SAC address.
The SAC wallet.
Okay? The SAC address. Yeah, of course. Yeah, right. And so, as soon as he fires the bullets, he hasn't got any. So what he wants to do is he's probably just going to like sprinkle every now and then to give people hope that the SAC wallet is going to like spend all of that money, right?
But so the argument, the counter to that, Bluey, is that if people are selling on these,
my point is it's a marketing ploy.
But this thing about that wallet running out of bullets, it's got like on a relative scale, it's got unlimited bullets. Like it would send the price to infinity. It would send the price to infinity.
No, it doesn't.
Look at the cap. Look at the liquidity pool of PLS versus DAI, and then compare that to multiple billions of dollars. Like it's it's like multiple orders of magnitude higher. So I don't think it's not like he's got limited economic energy. It's like unlimited, relatively speaking.
Yeah, relative. Okay, so it's not unlimited.
Yeah,
the point is
unlimited, relatively speaking.
Point is, as soon as he fires some, people start taking selling that down, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, I see what you're saying, Blue.
What I'm saying is that it's a marketing technique.
Yes.
Right. And for him to have that big bag is part of that marketing technique.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but can I just make one quick point? Even if you consider that there is a finite amount of bullets for the SAC wallets to buy up, right? You have to consider that there's more money in the SAC wallets than there is in the system.
Yes.
So
by orders of magnitude.
So they can't sell as much as he can buy all. The SAC wallets can buy all the cells and still keep going, because the only way that people can dump on it, they have to buy first before they can settle on it, because there's not as much.
There's only one entity that could F up that plan, and that is the SAC wallet. Like so So the only entity that has enough PLS to F up the plan of sending the price to infinity is the same entity that can pump it. And it's literally it dwarfs it, man. It dwarfs it. Look at
there's not enough sell pressure
liquidity on the entire chain.
Yeah, exactly.
Like go and look at the liquidity
I've got it right here, man.
Entire chain. It's but literally, Dozza, what is it at the moment?
Okay, so like I was saying before, like it's like 140 million PLS, 87 million in Pulse, and then Inc 70 million, Hex 20 million. So it's I could sum that up pretty quickly, but I can tell you it's not as much as what's in those SAC wallets. So even if every single person dumped all of their coins,
you can just send it.
It wouldn't be enough.
By the way, do you think if the price started going 2x, 3x, 4x, do you think people are going to be selling or buying? There's going to be so much retail FOMO rush to buy that it's not one wallet combating everyone selling. It's everyone buying. Like, because it changes the whole sentiment of the chain when the prices are going up. So the math checks out, like as in it's the smart move. If I was in control of that wallet, and we don't know who's in control of it, right? But if I was in control of that wallet, I'd be fucking sending it. And I would have already done it.
I think
it's not me.
It's a matter of time.
So you know the wallet, I don't have the keys. I don't have the keys. Because if I did, I'd be fucking sending it.
I think it's a matter of time, man, because it's just like, it's pre-halving. You got to think of it in the context of the cycle. It's like, and also there's this hedge as well where the SAC wallets have gone into Ethereum. They want Ethereum to pump first. So there's even more bullets, right?
Yeah.
With respect to the dollar.
Unfortunately, that went backwards, like as in.
Yeah, I know. Well, for the moment it has. Yeah.
I saw a tweet that said if the amount that had been taken as a paper loss on that ETH trade, because it went from like 600 mil to like 500 mil, if instead of buying ETH and losing 100 mil on paper, if 100 mil of DAI had just been bridged in and bought PLS, we'd already be on the fucking moon.
Nah, because you still need that has to work like effectively to bring people in. And
look,
it does. The green candles, are the best advertising.
What happened when he shot a whole lot of? He's done test shoots, and he injected 14 million or whatever, and into Hex, and after his Twitter stuff, and then it was sold down.
Yeah.
But that's
listen, man. I think that it's easy for us to. I think it's easy for us to, think that we might know the best way to pump everything or the best way to make, PLS and the RH ecosystem pump. No, but I think that, but I don't think I think that whatever the optimum play is probably what he's trying to do. And, I think he'll know, I think he knows. When I say whoever's in control of that SAC fund wallet, I think they probably have a plan, and it's it's not going to just be it's one particular way. It could go multiple ways.
I don't have any expectations. I'm not asking any whales or benevolent whales or anyone in the ecosystem to do any shit. Dozza and I are just pointing out the math. And you can't argue against what we're saying because it's true. That the amount of money in that wallet dwarfs the total liquidity on the entire chain. Then obviously I'm making an extension statement that says, if you were to start moving the prices up, other people are going to FOMO in. So you don't have to do all the heavy lifting. You just have to get the momentum started. That is something that you can argue against and say, no, I disagree. I think people are going to sell or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
But the first statement, it's not arguable.
Yeah.
So what about?
I'm definitely not arguing against that. I think it follows from what he tweeted out. I mean, the reason we're talking about this is because he did that tweet where he's talking about, doubling the liquidity. Yeah. So I think we're all in agreement of what's going to happen when that stuff gets deployed. But how it gets deployed, I sort of think that I defer to whoever's in control of the SAC wallet probably has a pretty good idea of what could be best. We're going to find out.
Let's not shit ourselves. Let's not shit ourselves, right? Like, so he whoever that is in control, whatever of the the SAC wallets, the Hex did a 10,000x, man. Like this is not something that we can say like. So they have a pretty good record of nursing coins. You could argue in the past, but I guess what Tangent was saying as well, like we don't actually have expectations of that, because it would be nice. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I still think that
keen for it to happen.
If it doesn't happen, then,
I don't expect
it is what it is.
Yeah.
We don't expect it.
I actually think I didn't have expectations of that happening until I saw it happening. And then that only happened in the last couple of months. I didn't have any, and I still don't have expectations of work from others. But when I see something happening for the first time and big moves happening with that SAC wallet, now I'm like, oh, what's going to happen next? So we're just sort of questioning what could it's speculate. Yes, that's it.
That's my point. That's my point. Is that like, so I remember January 5, we were all streaming, and the people were like, "It's the new year, 2024, and I'm still not rich yet." And it was like, okay, well, and then like literally, people started noticing that the SAC wallets had been buying, and it was sending it. But before that point, we had no expectations, and we still have no expectations. But we're allowed to speculate, and that meme, because Blue was talking about that before. Each community has their meme, where it be, Bitcoin with, store of value or whatever it may be. The meme, it's okay to have, to speculate on a meme that there's some SAC wallets that's buying up the price. It's just like how, Apple might do stock buybacks or whatever. You can speculate that they're going to do it, but you don't know for sure. But it's why not add it to our list of memes?
My concern about it being delayed and not happening soon, like it not happening soon, is other chains are stealing the show. Like we could be the chain that has flipped ETH. We could be that chain easily.
We will be.
Well, I think we will. I think we will be. But it's like, how long do we wait before we make that move and actually get all the attention?
All right. Well, can I counter it? Can I counter that question? Because it's a fair question. Like, why not be earlier rather than later?
Yeah.
But just to put the other side of the coin, if you're later, then a lot more people are going to lose faith in what happened, and maybe have weak hands, sell low, and then that gives us more opportunity to pump potentially.
But I've been hearing narratives it's just for like 3 years now. Like,
and it might be that's the weak hands in the weak hands in the RH ecosystem are like fucking barnacles, mate. That's the thing. People hang on like fucking barnacles.
Then it's never ending. Then we're shaking out the weak hands forever. It's like
at this point we're shaking out strong hands.
At some point you've got to say, okay, there might be still some weak hands, but we need to launch this rocket anyway, and then let them Sure, some weak hands are going to get slightly more money because they're going to paper hand it at like a 5x rather than at 1,000, rather than at the very, very bottom. But if you, it's like you said yourself, it's like it's never ending, right? Like it's there's always going to be more weak hands, and the longer the time goes on, sometimes people that weren't weak hands become weak hands because of the duration, right? It's time pain and price pain. So you could just keep saying that forever. You'd be like, oh, we're still shaking out the weak hands. Like 9 years later, there's probably one more guy that's going to capitulate at some point.
I think it's fair to say that if at the end of the bull run, like when it's confirmed that like we're pretty much in a bear market and if nothing's happened, then we can turn around and say, well, fuck, that was a shit show. That didn't work out, did it?
Yeah,
but I think we have to see it through, and maybe it either does work out or it doesn't. But because we're not having expectations. But if it does work out, and that's the plan. The plan is just to eke it out as long as possible, and only the true believers or the people who've got no other option because they're staked are the ones who end up winning. Well, as long as it's not skipping a cycle, I think that it's gonna that will be chalked up as a victory. Regardless,
I think the ETH in that in the SAC wallets, right? I did a calculation when it was at about whatever it was, 4,000 USD. It was something like for every $100 it goes up was $17 million, like, you know, gain sort of thing. And it was like, so obviously it's gone down. So that's like worked against it really, really hard. But if you think that that price of ETH is going to hit, say, 10,000 or whatever at peak this cycle, it could still double at least the economic energy in that.
You could do both, right? Like you could have that bag ready to moon, and so that there's even more economic energy, and also be using some of the stables that are there.
I think
like
that's what's possible.
These are not
happen
mutually exclusive strategies.
No,
right?
I agree.
But
what I'm saying is,
for your ETH bag to pump to be able to use some of the other assets to pump.
No, but what I'm saying is that's a reason for why to delay it, because you're saying, why would you wait? It's like, because if you spend it now, you have, say,
but that's what I'm saying.
If you wait, you 2x it.
You're waiting on. You can wait with those assets and still use different assets now. You can do both.
Or you just do both. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's probably the way.
That moon bag, wait for that to go up before you're using it. That doesn't need to put the whole shit on pause.
The other reason why you might want to wait till the end, right? Another reason I'm just thinking of now is like if every other community has pumped, right, and they're sitting on profits, and our community has shaken out like as many weak hands as you can shake out, then we start pumping, then you've got people coming in with their profits.
Yes, rotating.
Then you've got people rotating it with their profits. So I mean, I'm just speculating. That could be what what we see.
That's like fucking over the community that has held it the whole time, getting them out and getting like Solana bros in to ride.
Not if you're staked. Not if you're staked. Terrible. Not if you're staked, man.
Ooh.
Not if you're staked, that's the point.
ESing the fuck out of those stakes, dude. It means nothing.
Are you off, True Blue, or are you just raising your hand to say something?
I'm ready to say something when.
Okay, sorry.
I got something.
Go ahead. You got to talk about this, man.
No, so I don't know. Like sentiment's clearly at a bottom. Yeah. I don't know how many people here are ready to bail on the system, but maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. We want to be, everyone's at a low that they're shaking out their hands and all that sort of stuff, all the weak hands. But really, what was I going to say? Yeah, it was more along the lines of like this sort of thing where we're all waiting for, but why would he be doing it right now? Or why would the SAC wallets or whatever be injecting all these funds right now when there's still so much to get through? Things like the SEC, there's these court cases and stuff. What happens if, say, half of this money gets injected into the system to create green candles, and then there's FUD or something in the case has a bad light put on it, and then everyone dumps.
Yeah.
And then
so you're saying
that
momentum. You want to get the momentum going.
Maybe we're waiting for this case to get some positive news rather than maybe the first bit of news will be negative on the system. I'm saying the system, but our ecosystem. And then after that, the negative news, like we see even with Ethereum, there's a small bit of FUD, which we don't care about. We know it's not going to affect things, but the new people and the non-believers might be hesitant. But once there's some positive news, like the Bitcoin ETF or Ethereum ETF, there's a huge pump and inflow. We might be waiting for the same thing with the PulseChain system, where we're going to get negative news from the courts and from this this SEC judgment, and then afterwards things go positive. Then the green candles get lit.
It could be as simple as that.
That sounds reasonable.
He's not stupid.
Hey, do you think that RH actually put a target on his back specifically? Specifically to try to get the SEC to come after him to try to.
He baited them. He baited the SEC. Yes. Yes, most definitely.
Out of the shops.
Dude, think about just watch the 6-hour stream he did with the lawyers and tell me he did not bait. He hasn't baited the whole time. This has not been in the plan. Please tell me. Watch that 6-hour stream.
We'll never know is the answer to that. No one will ever know, right?
The answer,
so you could speculate. Yes,
this is not some this is not some half-assed plan. You look at how much thought was put into that contract. And so think about how much thought was put into it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was designed to not be a security like Hex originally. Yeah, I agree with that. And so I guess the thing is that, you know, does anyone want that kind of heat? But then maybe now, because the SEC has just basically, you know, gone after, I don't know, I want to say like, say 70% of the biggest coins, then now it's like a badge of honor almost. It's like, if your coin is so insignificant that hasn't been targeted by the SEC, then you might as well just jog on, because like it's not even big enough for the SEC to care about. Like, so now it's been almost like a badge of honor that people are like, oh yeah, of course. Well, Ethereum, you know, who hasn't been, you know, which coin hasn't been targeted?
Why, yeah, I just don't see why we would launch now when there's still so many probably speed bumps to come up with yet. And all of the people here, like on this stream and in the chat, are the people we want to stay in the ecosystem. And if we're not shaken out yet, then we're here for the long run. And there's still weak people that could be shaken out, which he doesn't, you know, people don't really mind. You get out, sweet, because we're holding for the long run. Whereas I just see if they put, you know, if there's a big injection of liquidity or money into this stuff, there's going to be hardcore selling straight up, because everyone's going to think it's a fake pump again. Because we've already had pumps. Like, people are saying, you know, someone pump our bags. PulseX did 100% or a double just last week on Friday. It literally went up. We got 100%.
Short memories.
Is that not a pump?
It's a pretty big pump. Like, if you lowered your cost basis down and you kept buying, you know, everyone is in profit for, you know, the PulseChain, PLSX, things like that. If you rolled your cost basis, right?
Yeah, I met up with someone,
even though PLSX is below SAC. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I met up with someone last week, and unbeknownst to me, because I had this hat on, they all of a sudden, we found a meeting point there about Pulse and stuff like that, and they'd sacrificed, and they were talking about how, you know, they're not feeling it about Pulse and this and that. Because they sacrificed, and that's it. They've been sitting on their hands ever since. And I know some people don't have the chance to DCA or, you know, get their cost basis down, but they've literally put nothing into the system since their sacrifice, and they're just hoping it goes above SAC price with PulseX.
That's
you know, they're feeling a bit better because Pulse is above SAC, but nothing else is.
I don't.
They're not feeling it, whereas I'm actually.
Maybe that's the disparity. Maybe that's the disparity that we're getting, where so people haven't lowered their cost basis, and then they're like, oh, it's not above SAC, so I'm not rich. But you kind of going, hang on, we've 3x here.
If you backed for Pulse and held it right through till now, it has already outperformed legacy financial instruments, right? Like, as in, you're in a better spot, even though you still have the risk of the volatility could just drop at any second and that sort of thing. This is a great discussion, by the way. I think you're all making really good points. My not my concern, but the thing that I think maybe people are missing a little bit when they comment on this is there is no magical point where all the bad actors are out of the asset and all of the true believers have not paper handed their shit. The longer this goes on for, the more likely it is that there'll be, I see it on the timeline every day. There are people that have been hardcore positive about Richard and Hex since the very beginning, just capitulating. And it's like, I don't want them to not be on the fucking moon mission. And there are bad actors that are never going to drop their bags, like dump their bags, because they know that at some point it'll probably pump, and they're too rich. They've scammed people, so they don't need to. You're never going to get all the bad actors out, and you're never going to have all the good.
That's an excellent point. Don't you guys think at the very least, now that so much of the SAC funds are in ETH, that you would wait, like the SAC, whoever is controlling it, would wait until as close to the top of ETH as they could determine, so that the SAC funds, whatever they are doubled or tripled?
Yes, I agree with what you're saying, but I was just going to say, or that as a caveat, or wait for the Ethereum ETF, like the pump off the Ethereum ETF.
Yeah. All of that.
Yeah. So whatever maths was worked out in that tweet not so long ago, just think about how much like higher everything goes if it's, you know, multiplied by 3x or 4x based off the Ethereum price.
43. Pat Tangent's point, right, is that everyone who buys Hex, if they're buying today, or everyone who buys anything they're buying, they automatically become a potential weak hand.
So anyone who's buying at lows is a potential weak hand. Now, also, you have a whole lot of hexagons, right, who have stakes going out laddered for the next 15 years. All of those stakes are weak hands potential.
Yeah.
Very high potential, right? And
of course,
and not only that, you also have to think that all of those people think, well, okay, I've got these long stakes going out 15 years. If it does take off, that's awesome. Right now, what am I going to do with this liquid money I have? Maybe it's smarter to diversify in case that thing doesn't work out. Like I'm on the moon mission, but this new money I have, I'm not necessarily going to throw more onto the moon mission to just make myself even more weighted in that way. Like,
I think that's right. Fair. You're right that it's like that attitude shifts from what has happened with how it wasn't bear market resistance. People are like, well, if it goes up massively, I'm rich anyway because there's a stake sitting there regardless. So that the hedge is, if you're going to be super wealthy anyway, if it goes up from the stake, then you don't need to hold the liquid.
But also, I think like
good points. You know, both of you making good points, man.
Well, I just stole Bluey's point. Like I said, I just repeated.
But even the point, but even the point you made before was a good point. Like I thought it was a good point.
It just means
I think it was.
It just means this whole thing of this whole narrative of shaking out the weak hands is kind of BS.
Well, okay, so I'll just say
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
I'll say one thing about that.
You're always going to have.
I'll just say one thing.
You're never going to be able to shake out all of the weak hands.
You can't shake them all out. You can't shake them all out.
So I think that's what Tangent was saying. And one thing I'll just say, though, is that the price actually does not care about our emotions, right? Like all of the drama, all of the emotions, it doesn't actually matter. Like, it will do its thing no matter what, whether we have attribute an emotion to it or not. So this whole, I think that weak hands is legitimate, or I don't think it's arbitrary. Like,
so no one.
I got a question. I got a question for the maths people. So, sorry, Hex enthusiast, you go, mate.
No. Go 43. I'll go next. Yeah.
I was going to say, so for the maths guys, let's just imagine that the SAC wallet is able to double the dollar value of the ETH that they had, double or triple, like whatever, like whatever maths you want to do. What does that mean for that? Like if you sort of incorporate that into the tweet that he did earlier about earlier in the week, instead of it being 100x, like where could it go based on those extra funds,
well, if it's just literally a multiple, so it's just like if it could do 100x before and then it does a 3x, it could do a 300x.
Yeah, but it's disregarding sellers along the way.
Or
as soon as he pumps,
or are you saying because it's a square, because it worked like in terms of
injection, well, if he's got double the amount of double the dollar amount, does that mean that 100 becomes 400?
No, it
means the other side?
his marketing becomes better because everyone thinks that it might go in there. And as soon as he does it, right, he's got to.
Well, let's not create a false dichotomy. It can be both, though. It can be both. You know, it's not
really hard to say
either one or the other. It can be both, right? It can be the marketing and the extra, money going into it.
Yeah, it'll be firing shots at strategic times and seeing what the market does, and then reacting to that. Like
it's going to depend on whether the SAC wallets are buying on the way up or whether they're just going to completely wait and then just buy it up. I mean, so far it looks like it's protecting,
you'll protect levels
of support, and then and that sort of thing.
Levels,
which makes more sense.
But the question is that if you go from $441 million to $882 million, does that mean instead of 100x? That's a 400x on the other side. Is that what we're saying?
It depends if it works. If it brings in new users, it works. If it doesn't bring in new users, it doesn't work.
Yeah, you also So I agree with Blue saying, because when the price goes up, more people come in, and then so it's hard to say because then you're
what if there are
a chart which is already higher. But hang on a sec. So if you had 170 170,000 ETH, right? It would depend. So the SAC wallets had 170,000 ETH. I think that was what it was. Then it would depend on how that is deployed. Like, so in 20 ETH at a time or whatever, then the other ETH that's not being injected into the system is going up at a rate of, like you said, like might go 2x, 3x. But then the stuff that you've injected is not going up. So it's like a curve, you know. It's not a simple, unless he just waits until the ends and puts 170,000 ETH in one big market buy.
Bro, can you imagine?
Then you get your green dillies tangent.
Did he like? I understood from that tweet
that would just piss me off, because it's just
you miss it because you're like
he would do it evenly across all the liquidity pools, wouldn't he? So that there's less arbitrage.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. Like,
is that right?
Piss me off, because I would just be like, man, I could have had like a private jet like fucking 4 years ago. Like, it would just annoy the fuck out of me if, like,
you just be like, I'm rich, like, but I'm still
another 2 years and then a candle that goes to infinity. It would just annoy the shit out of me.
What are you going to do? Private jet after the golden yacht.
What are you going to do on your private jet tangent? Like, where are you flying to?
The yacht will have a helicopter.
But
like,
where are you flying?
Golden helicopter.
Ooh.
And you could, whatever you say, you could do that right now if you wanted to. Just not in that mode of transport.
I'm just using the private jet as like extreme wealth. I didn't literally mean, but with a private jet you can go anywhere you want. Like, literally.
You can go anywhere you want right now.
Assuming you have
but you've got to queue up and shit. Like,
you've got to go through customs. The whole thing, the airport food.
My point on this, I guess, my view on it is that he could do a lot of things, or the SAC wallet or whatever, but we've been waiting for the right time. We're getting all these, shots fired in the way of injections from here and there with, all these pumps. Maybe they're just like, test pumps showing us, all right, it's here. We're going to go soon, but, he can't pump it that hard yet because
he's fluffing it. He's fluffing it.
Like that.
Sorry.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Are fluffing it. I reckon
there's so much.
Even Elon tests the rockets before the fucking proper launch.
Mate, you got to prime them. Yeah. Same as you see the drag.
A couple of them are going to blow up. A few astronauts are probably going to die, but ultimately,
we'll get to Mars.
Going to get there.
And then when we're at Mars, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Go on tangents, golden yacht, man.
I'm still going to want a private jet. Yeah, I'm still going to want a yacht and shit on that. No matter what planet I'm on.
Fucking yacht parties. That's the end game.
Yacht parties on Mars. That's a vibe.
This board sentiment just shows me every time it gets this bad, we're like a few days away from a mega, from the pumps we've seen. So there's one around the corner.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Good point.
These new users, it all comes down to new users. It's
that's interesting.
That's the network effect, and he wants to make as many people as rich as possible, not just a few people very rich. So it's like,
I think that's a reason for why building is good, and for getting outreach and communities and things like that. A lot of people don't like to talk about other communities, but I think like the more the better sort of thing. If you can get them in.
Do you think though that this 99% down for however long we've been down for and stuff like that, and not deploying the bullets as Tangent said, and not having any kind of like greenage, do you think it makes it more difficult for people currently in the system to onboard? Because it's like,
bro, that's EHEX you're talking about.
I know for me, I know for me that it's
I know, but I'm just saying, he's the master of framing, right? So you got to remember, he's going to count from the bottoms. He's going to count the 10,000x from the bottoms. And so the lower it goes, the easier it is.
My point is ultimately what we need is like new users. When we were first into Hex, we were onboarding like madmen. Like we really were, right? And I don't really see that at the moment. Right.
Well, it's easier to onboard with, and you can flex with a chart that looks awesome. Is that what you're saying? Like,
you kind of need that hopium.
Yeah,
I agree.
For
the people onboarding, as well as for the people who potentially being onboarded. Like,
yeah. So I mean,
you
just have to show them the PHEX chart, bro, and just be like, "Oh, look, we're at all-time highs and things like that," and just frame it in a way that
you can't do that. You can't onboard people because you haven't got as much confidence to say, "Listen, I think this is amazing for these reasons." Like, because then you have to say, like there's too many caveats.
Yeah, people won't listen as much if your chart looks like shit.
But also, you won't have so much confidence to tell them about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with what you're saying.
Our charts look pretty good. I think our charts look pretty good the last 3 months. No? Don't they look pretty good? Last few months.
If you just don't look at EHEX, right? If you only look at PHEX and then the other three, it's like
yes,
you can frame it in a way.
Also 43. It's like you've got to consider relative to other crypto assets, like stock markets going up, gold's going up, all the other crypto markets, including Bitcoin, everything's pumping its dial off. So, like relative performance matters as well. So
it's outperformed gold, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Gold's at all-time highs.
It's a completely different risk profile. So like as in for gold has been, I would say gold has been outperforming. Like gold has been outperforming.
But you just okay, but I was just you
maybe
said
not in
that
percentage terms,
you brought up gold, and I was just saying, well, that basket of assets
everything's going up. Everything's going up. So it's like
this is right.
So if you price everything,
guys, I would love to continue to discuss this. I actually have to go right now. It's been really nice chatting to all of you. I'm sorry, I really have to go.
That's cool. You gotta go.
That's all good. That's all good.
I'll speak to you guys next week. Hey, cheers. Take it easy.
See ya.
Thanks, 43. See you, man.
Hey guys, while there's a bit of silence there, just quickly. So I wasn't here the last time, like last bull run, right? I'm a newbie to all this, really, only over the past 2 years. So Tangent, all the charts and all that sort of stuff, and all three of you were here for I'm assuming the mega pumps with Hex. What was Hex doing when Ethereum and Bitcoin were moving up and going to their all-time highs? Was Hex mooning like everyone's hoping that it should be, or was it after they,
it was
the bull
more
run, then
because
everything
it double topped, right? So
Hex was
BTC
kind of like going
top.
up the whole time though.
Right,
Like,
up.
It was going up when shit was going down. It was going up when shit was going up. It was just.
It was after. It was after the PulseX.
It was decorrelated.
Crazy.
It was decorrelated. I remember people cheering the decorrelation, including me, quite a bit. So it was like it was one of the assets that was not moving, at the same time or closely around the other assets. It was marching to its own drum, and
and so the narrative thing, the narratives at the moment, like shaking out the weak cans, and there was the narrative that people were selling of and I even was into was the EHEX stuff, and that the narrative was at that point when I started getting into Hex was it's it's only going up and to the right, and so there's all these things where it's all changing, and it's only its second cycle. So I guess things are going to be different, and we're sitting here for that. So,
well, I mean, there's going to be periods of euphoria and things like that, and so I mean, the T-share rate definitely always goes up, but no one can like honestly say that a chart's always going to go up.
No.
Obviously there's retracements and cycles, things like that. But I guess one of the narratives that was sort of blown out of the water, if you honest about it, would be to say that the staking would reduce, would mean that there would be less sell pressure in a bear market, and I'd say that that's been proven false.
Yeah, the store of value narrative has not worked.
So that's why I'm saying, narratives are narratives, memes or whatever. And some people don't like to talk about it, but I think the fact that we've got a meme or a narrative now that there's a entity, Sack Wallets, that are buying up the price, why not like add it to the list of things? I mean, it's still awesome anyway if it doesn't, but you can still do yield farming. You can still do super quick like swaps and all the things that you know, if you're using liquid loans or, you know, earn protocol or any of these other things. But it is also another sort of, you know, feather in the cap sort of thing to sort of say, well, also look at these numbers of how much total liquidity there is and how much, you know, buy pressure there is.
Those wallets are going to be used like the way we've seen them moving and being, you know, lately being changed. They're clearly going to be used. So they're big numbers to talk about and know that's going to happen. Yeah.
There was a GoPulse tweet where they said they did some loose math on stuff that they're seeing to do with the SAC wallets and the movements. And they said 1,000x. They said it looks like Pulse could do 1,000x. I'll go and find the tweet.
Walter also says the case is relevant even after being watch the price.
I mean, that could just be moon math, but like
maybe. Yeah. I mean, that's just speculation, I guess. What's up, Red Squirrel? Oi, oi. Thanks very much, guys, in the chat. Bob the Guy. McLovin, the rope zone vibe. Yeah. So was there anything else you guys wanted to chat about? Sort of because we should probably wrap it up at some point.
Yeah. Like as in, yes, agreed that we should wrap it up because you guys have been going for quite a while, hey?
Yeah.
Two hours.
So I just thought, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to have an
outros?
Shout out or outros? Yeah. You got the best and undisputed longest outros, Tangent. Should we give you some time?
Actually, I don't have much to say about outro other than the Tangang's doing a conference on the 20th of April. So 420, like stoner culture. And so that's going to be quite interesting. It's online conference. So it's you can watch it from anywhere in the globe. There's some pretty exciting shit already that's being planned. The planning's only really just started. So there's not a lot to say just yet. And it's going to be all new content. So Bullish has got a rule for the conference that no one's recycling content. Like, so you don't, it's not, it has to all be like new shit. So, so people can do pre-recorded videos as long as it hasn't been released elsewhere. And
that's going to be great.
Yeah.
How many days
it should be really good.
Or is it multiple
I think
days?
I think it might just be a single day because it's a single day, or maybe it's the weekend or something. But well, actually, I guess the 420 thing, right? I think it's a Saturday.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I think it's just that one. I think it's just a one day. Bullish has kind of got the attitude that like if you can't do the conference in a single day, like you don't need like a 4-day conference to.
Depends on.
I guess maybe so. Yeah. For the community size, right? Like because the Tangang's only got like 1,500 people in the Telegram. So for the size of the community, I don't think you need a multi-day conference.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing all them. I'll be tuning in.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. All right, Bluey, you got any closing remarks, mate?
Not really. This is now not a solely Pulse and Hex channel now. Hey, we can.
No. Look, we talked about this earlier that I was going to start doing at the end. After 43 leaves, basically, was going to like say if people want to like talk about other charts, I don't care. I'll bring them up, and I might say that I don't like them or whatever, but I still think it doesn't hurt to look at things. And but yeah, have you got
you want to talk about X1, don't you, Bluey?
I just want to I don't have a chart or anything but I've been delving into X1 and Zen blocks. And,
I knew it.
Okay.
And
so, that's cool.
Just,
we get free money, right? If for that, we get an airdrop.
Tell us about that free. Some people might want to know how to get that free money, like the.
Okay, well right now, if you have it's the chain hasn't been launched, so they're still waiting for the chain to be launched. And we don't know when that's going to be launched. It might be in days, it might be in weeks, it might be in months, right? We don't know.
I assumed it was already launched.
No, the DevNet, it's up on DevNet, and so they're testing it a lot, but they're still working on it. So what you could do if you wanted to is you could get the RPC settings for their DevNet and if you go into the Telegram group, there's a link, and you can see how much you will get. And basically, it's just going to be like anyone who had either Hex or any of the Maxis or HSI, the whole kind of kit and caboodle, any Hex on the time just before Richard made the tweet, which kind of nuked the price of eHex, or people sold it because of that. You can, like, all of the Hex that you had at that point, you can basically claim as the first meme coin on X1. So you can go and test it out now on their DevNet if you want.
That's cool.
What I'm more excited about is mining, because there's this thing called Zenblocks, and on their chain, they're going to have proof of work stake. It's proof of stake to validate. Well, it's proof of stake to validate their chain, but what they also have is the ability to proof of work mine tokens for their chain. And there is some pretty interesting plans for what those, like how they'll be used. And there's some interesting tokenomics and stuff like that. So I guess
once it comes out,
shouldn't that be the other way around? Shouldn't you have proof of work for the chain security and then proof of stake for the shit that's on top, rather than the other way around?
No, they've got a new consensus model that they when they launched Zen, they obviously tried it out on all these different chains, and they took all of those metrics to see which chain worked the best.
Oh, okay.
And so they've chosen the best chain, which I think they considered Phantom, which uses a DAG consensus, which is directed acyclic graphs, right?
Oh, yuck.
Which makes it just faster and it gives it the ability to scale. And so,
yeah, but they've been pretty trash. I mean, unless they've fixed the problems with them, but typically those DAGs are trash. But I haven't kept up to date with the tech, so don't put too much weight in what I'm saying. But yeah, previously they were garbage.
Yeah, look, and there's nothing for you to go out and buy now that I'm telling everyone to do. I just think that it's a really interesting space, and it's also such an interesting way because you can proof of work mine tokens on this new chain. There's actually a way to fiat onboard where you don't have to go through KYC.
That's interesting stuff. And by the way, just so that it doesn't sound like I'm being unnecessarily negative to the idea, I actually heard Jack in a space where he was shitting on every chain. So he was saying, now that we've launched on every chain, I've effectively had the experience of actually interacting with every chain on the level where you actually have to run validators or whatever their equivalent is. And so it's not just going and buying and selling, like it's actually going and trying to run the shit and actually operating the chain and that sort of thing.
They've been slamming them with activity.
And he had these like accurate and scathing comments of all the different chains. And I was loving it because he was just having these really good criticisms of all the chains and just absolutely smashing them. And then he made that comment where he was like, we're going to take all of that experience of like going and actually, launching on all the chains and I thought that's actually a pretty that's a pretty good sounding narrative. Like, hey, we've taken, we've gone and actually used all of these chains, and now we're trying to take the best aspects of all these different things, if possible.
Yeah. I encourage people to do that, to like dabble around different chains, play around on Avalanche or whatever, just bridging across and whatever, you can go on Arbitrum and Optimum. So that way you can actually say, honestly, I've tried that chain and I think it's a piece of shit because of this. Whereas if you're just saying, I don't like Arbitrum for whatever reason, and then it's like, you've never tried it. How do you know it's not good? Like, yeah, so it's a learning experience. And so from that point of view, I did like the way that, the Zen did that on all the different chains. But I mean, the chart, you got to admit the Zen chart is dog shit. And if like,
but it's not a coin that you buy and then hold well, first of all, it's got different tokenomics. So you've got to take that into account. And I see their chart as just basically, people were fucking FOMOing in at the start. and it and then it quickly found a price, like a fair market market value.
So then my thing is the proof in the pudding's in the eating, right? So like, let's see X1 launch, let's see it do its initial dump, then maybe I'll buy some, and then we'll look at the chart, and then I'll plot it as a ratio with respect to Pulse and things like that, because it's like, that's how I'm doing things now. I look at whatever coin it is, I put it as a ratio with respect to Pulse, or if I'm on Ethereum or whatever, I plot it with respect to ETH, and it's like, it has to outperform the native gas token, otherwise I'm not really interested.
But if you're only looking to buy low and sell high, right? Then then that's what you're doing. That's what you're.
Of course, that's the name of the game.
Lower than Pulse.
Yeah. So in terms of that, like you can't. It's a different comparison. Like, you can do that on a short time frame for Zen, right? And I've actually been like earning amazing rewards providing liquidity for Zen on the ETH chain. Right. So there are other ways to kind of tackle this. You've got many options when it comes to this kind of stuff. And but in terms of just buying and hoping it goes to 100x, look, when X1 is launched and you need Zen in order to burn Zen, and they have these moon parties once a month, then you will see more demand for Zen, and then you might see bigger movements in the Zen price. Right?
Yeah.
That's also another tactic. So you can take many different strategies in order to get value out of this.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So there is a point where it's like, if you're hearing about it on CoinDesk and you're hearing about it from Bant or whatever, it's like at that point it's almost too late, because you're being, so you have to take some risk if you want to get into projects that are going to do really, really well, because if you want to capture that massive run up. But I also like to sort of see the performance, and I'm probably more of a late, like I get into things slightly later, but I like to see them like retest, or like, that they confirm the trend before I'm not like Somi or whatever that just loves seeing things that go down at 99% and then it's all value. Like, I actually want to see it start kicking up, and I'm happy to like lose the very bottom if I think that it's
and for me, I'm not a trader at all. Like, I really kind of like trying to buy low and sell high. I kind of look for more the innovation and where things are heading. That's what I like.
Different approach. Yeah.
So this free claim, is it the free claim or the airdrop or whatever? Is that just for Hex and the perpetuals and stuff from Ethereum, or is it PulseChain as well?
I think it's just
both.
It's both. Stakers only.
It's both. Any stakes also, any liquid Hex, any perpetuals, any HSIs.
The whole
I'm pretty sure. And it's basically just going to be a meme coin of Hex on this X1 DevNet. So there's no staking or anything like that. There's no contracts. If someone wants to make a contract, they can do it. It's not going to have any of the tokenomics of Hex because there's no ability to mint new of it kind of stuff. We don't know how long the window for claiming will be. They're still deciding that. It's very much if you get in there and Telegram and say, I really want this, and everyone else says, yeah, that's a really good idea, he'll probably do it.
I was going to ask you that if there was a claim window, because obviously that would be smart for him to do that. So that same thing that Richard said, you don't want the coin to like go and do like a huge number of gains and then have people come in and be like, oh, I'll claim it now that it's worth something, and just dump on everyone's heads.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, like...
But you can do that as well. Like go in and dump it as well. Like, it's free money. Like, you know what I mean?
Everyone has the choice.
If you want to do that, if like, and a lot of people just, every time they get an airdrop, they just dump it immediately. And it's not a bad tactic.
It's not a bad strategy.
If I would have done that with a lot of things, I'd do a lot better than holding on to some of this shit stuff.
Depending on how rubbish it is, and you can get malicious airdrops as well, but depending on how rubbish the airdrop is, if it's half decent, I generally do 50-50. So I sell 50, keep 50, just as like regret minimization thing from the Church of Tangent that I've learned over the years.
So your tactic is to not emotionally hurt yourself basically.
Yeah, regret minimization.
Yourself.
Yeah, well, it's either hedging your regret. Like you're sort of going, well, at a later stage, if I look back and think, I can't believe I sold all my whatever, and then so if you do 50%, you're at least getting some of that economic energy into the core coin that you want, and then you know that you've got a 50-50 like the other one sitting there, which can go to zero, or it could go really well.
You
and
can
then
sell 100, you can sell 50, you can sell none, you can provide liquidity. There's many options.
If you do what Doz is talking about, it means if it goes to zero, then at least you're not like, oh, that was a waste of time. I got nothing from this. You've locked in something so that you get something out of that airdrop. And then, but then it also means if it goes and does like stupid Shiba Inu shit, that you're not left coping on the sidelines.
Yeah. Because it's a 50-50 in my mind. It's like, why not?
True Blue. Cool. That's cool.
True Blue, you got any closing remarks, bro?
No, the chat's been going a lot more than usual, and we've had a few more viewers as well. So I just want to give a shout out to everyone there and the viewers, being more Tangent and Bluey. I'm not saying you had anything to do with the viewers. Just joking. It was probably all to do with you guys, but no, good to see everyone out and have you guys tune in today. It was really cool chatting with you, and I was so I wasn't trying to be harsh with any of my comments. I was just trying to like give a different perspective and just
good.
Just how I see it. So that's all. But yeah, no, I love.
Yeah, no, your comments were dope, man.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah, man. No, I really appreciate all you guys coming on, Tangent and Bluey. Good to see you, and of course, True Blue. And appreciate the chat.
43.
Apologies, and 43, of course. Yep. Apologies to the chat. We do talk over each other sometimes. You have to consider that there is a delay, right? So that when we're talking, there's like silence, and then so we start talking, and then only when you listen back to it, you go, man, that sounds bad. But it's actually because there's delay.
Man. That's bullshit. It's all because we've all got verbal diarrhea, and
we've got massive egos, and we just like talking on top of each other. Yeah, that's probably more likely. Yeah. Either way, man. Awesome, guys. Thanks again, guys, for coming in, and I hope everyone has an awesome weekend. And thanks to Replay Gang, and we'll catch you next week.
See you.
Rock on. Cheers, guys.